The legendary Mr. Skin.
Dude, Mr. Skin.
MrSkin.com.
Skin, everybody.
Coast to coast from Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York, it's the Mr. Skin Podcast with your hosts, Mr. Skin and Andrea Lowell. We want to hear from you. Call the show and leave us a voicemail at 484-SKIN-POD. Find all things Mr. Skin Podcast online at MrSkinPodcast.com.
Episode 52, the Mr. Skin Podcast. Welcome, everyone, to the Mr. Skin Podcast, sponsored by Streamate.com, the global leader in live streaming, with the hottest porn stars and amateurs broadcasting live directly from their bedroom to yours. Streamate creates a totally unique and intimate experience where you get to direct the show however you want. With an endless variety of performers, you're sure to find your perfect match on Streamate.com. The question is, are you ready?
I am ready, Andrea.
I know you are, baby.
Yeah, I'm no math major, but 52 episodes, that sounds like 1 year complete today. That's pretty incredible.
Yes. Look at that. That is awesome. That, you know, it's like every time we do an episode or a podcast, there's something to celebrate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
I love it.
No, that's really neat. 52. It's definitely a milestone. We're not doing anything crazy special, but it is something that we kind of reflect back on. And I think,
you mean we're not going to go to Croatia and celebrate?
Did I tell you that they were I don't know if I've told you this. This is hot off the press. When I was out of town, I spoke with a higher up at the show, and they were so happy with how it went. They said we would very seriously consider a return engagement of you guys. Yes, I know.
Yes.
I know. So we'll keep you posted on that. So that was really neat. But
okay, well, fingers crossed, and let me know well in advance so I can make sure I bring enough food with me.
Yeah, right. I know, so they don't rip the crap out of us because you're got that crazy menu. But yeah, I should. You know, one of the things that I probably should start doing, if a good podcaster should explain his show at the beginning and tell listeners why they should listen. I think after 52 episodes, it's time for me to finally explain the show. And basically, what I try to do at the Mr. Skin Podcast is just kind of a place to go where you could get the latest nudity news. Like, we kind of capture everything that's happened over the past week with a special. You know, we lean heavily towards the Sunday night television programming, obviously, because there's so much great nudity. But it's really a place to go to get the update, the latest on who's nude in celebrity nudity, what's hot, what's all the stuff that is new releases, what just happened on television. And then I try to give you a little, as best we know, stuff, you know, that's coming up. So it's a place to go to find out the latest nudity news summed up by us and what all my guys here at the office are talking about and what's hot here. And that's really something that I assume people understand, but I probably should let them know a little more than I do when we start these shows.
Well, I think it's absolutely fantastic because by listening to our podcast, people can really stay on top of the nudity as it's happening. And then they can kind of pay it forward by telling their friends, hey, did you see, the Gillian Anderson, bikini bottom being pulled down? Right. Mr. Skin talked about it. So it really is great for water cooler talk, but also knowing what to look for when you're watching TV. If you're like you and I and you want to see the good stuff on the big screen and small screens.
Well, yeah. And the other thing, too, is most normal people out there, they have lives and jobs. They can't keep up with all the movies and television. And we all have an interest in celebrity nudity at different levels. I get it. But for those of you really interested in the latest nudity, we've kind of done all the work. My slogan at my website is "We fast forward to the good parts," where we make sure that we go through everything so we can share this news and skin information with everyone. And the fun part for me of doing this podcast is not only sharing all that, but, also we've gotten a lot into not just movies and television, the latest from movies and television, but even the nudity nugget stuff from the paparazzi, from actresses' Instagram accounts, just wild stuff that maybe wouldn't naturally make it to MrSkin.com. It's still celebrity nudity news, and we love to share that. So anyway, so that's what I'm trying to do with the Mr. Skin podcast.
Oh, you're doing it. You're doing it, baby.
Yeah. Well, no, it's been cool. And I got to say, I rarely check in on how many, I know it sounds stupid, but I don't really check often on, how many listeners we have, but I have to say it's grown. Like a lot of people that come to my website, it's grown considerably, in these 52 episodes. And that's part of the reason you're seeing these great sponsors come aboard with us, because we really have a lot of eyeballs and listeners coming to the podcast, which is really cool, and it's also a lot of fun for me. It's a great way for me to keep super engaged, because I've been doing this now almost 18 years, and I have so many people working for me now. When I first started the website, it was just me getting the pictures, writing the bios, writing the reviews, and just me, literally. And now to have all these people that also have a passion for it, it's so easy to just be like, not that I don't enjoy nudity, but it's so easy for me to like fall behind on this stuff. But by doing this podcast, it keeps me like in tune with in tune with all the nude stuff. So I love it. That for me is another good thing of doing this podcast. But we're going to continue to do it, Andrea. It's been, done way better than I ever thought it would when I started it. And I get it. Part of the reason is we get so many people that come to our website, but the fact that more and more people are tuning in means that there's definitely guys relying on this vital information on a weekly basis that we share, and we'll continue to do so in the coming weeks and months and years, hopefully. So.
Well, I'm super excited, and I'm very honored and grateful to be a part of it. And we have so much fun every week. Now, we did go to Vegas, as many of our listeners know. If this is your first time tuning into the podcast and you haven't heard me and Skin at AVN, you're definitely not going to want to go anywhere, because we had one of the longest, most cerebral, cool, winding road conversations where, you're starting talking about, hot porn stars getting banged out by, black guys with big dicks. Yep. And then all of a sudden we're talking politics. Yep. I mean, and real, true, like, intellectual conversation. And what I'm talking about is Mr. Marcus and Kelly Holland.
Yeah, and so when you and I were in Las Vegas back in January, we set up shop, did our podcast there, and talked to tons of people in the adult industry. The best
of the best.
Yeah, and just so you know, this is airing on, today is, when this airs, will be the...
4th of July, right?
4th of July. Skindependence Day, as we like to call it here at MrSkin.com. But this is like a Skindependence Day Skinterview special. So
nice.
It's a holiday, and we thought we had a great conversation with Mr. Marcus and Kelly Holland, and we're going to share that interview with you guys. And like I said, next week we'll be back to the normal updates on television and movie, and I'll probably have a lot to get to, because it'll be 2 full weeks of
nice
reporting. But so enjoy our Skindependence Day Skinterview special with Mr. Marcus, a porn star who's been in over probably close to 1,000 movies, and a really cool guy, and Kelly Holland, who's the CEO and owner of Penthouse right now. And it was an interesting conversation, because I'm really interested in how a magazine like Penthouse is going to survive.
Right,
and
I'm with you.
She was really passionate and cool, and I think you'll enjoy the Skinterview. So tune in, and we'll get back to next week to the normal Mr. Skin podcast.
Enjoy the interview. Hey, it's Andrea and Skin here at the Mr. Skin podcast, and we are with another adult legend, Mr. Marcus. It is such a pleasure to talk to you again. We haven't talked in quite a few years, and it's really nice. And why is it everyone that I'm seeing does not age?
Right.
How is no one aging? What is the secret in the adult world? Is there a certain lotion y'all are using? Is it lots of fucking? What the hell is it?
I think the sex
has an effect.
I'm
telling you, everyone we're talking to has not aged a damn year.
And they say laughter.
Yeah.
Laugh your
Gotta have
ass
fun.
off. Right.
So I'm really excited about having Mr. Marcus here because he can kind of metaphorically or figuratively rather pass you the baton because he's been inducted into the AVN Hall of Fame and Mr. Skin here is being inducted this weekend.
Congratulations.
Yeah, well,
brother.
thank you. Congratulations to you. You've had an amazing career. Yeah, when I was a kid, my dream was to play center field for the Chicago White Sox and get into the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Right.
But, you know, the AVN Hall of Fame, it's not so bad, right?
It's even better.
It's a Hall of Fame.
It's
Let me
even
tell you,
better.
more of my friends are jealous of the AVN Hall of Fame than if I was in Cooperstown.
Totally.
Yeah, this is Cooperstown, right?
This-
yeah.
What was it like for you?
Sex was something that kind of came naturally.
Okay.
And then this business happened. And it became about like making movies. It became about, you know, it worked out. I like to have sex, but I also was a big fan of the business.
I always feel like with porn, being a guy, the odds are stacked against you to make real money. I know guys could get in and make some dough here and there, but to make a career as a male porn star,
it's tough.
Hell of a lot tougher than being a hot chick.
Now, you don't have the accessories that attracts so many. I don't know. Women like women, you know, and that's it helps us out. It keeps us moving forward. But I think I don't know. I separated. I didn't separate myself. I just kind of like looked at things differently. I got in this industry in 1994.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Here at the AVN, and at that time it was at Sahara.
Right.
Uh-huh.
You knew Paul Fishbein, obviously. There. Yeah.
Yeah, Paul. I didn't know Paul. I knew Jim South.
Okay.
You know, and then I met Paul down the road. But for me, it started from the bottom. You know, I was a guy that was standing there like a fan on the, you know, on the red carpet.
Wait, so you came to AVN as a guest?
Yeah.
Like initially?
Like as a fan.
And then,
I was a huge fan.
Wow. And so it kind of has come totally full circle.
Oh, yeah. Smacked me in my ass, my face.
So how did your porn career come to be? How did you go from being a regular guy to an adult star?
Somebody told me that I was doing 7 movies a month. And I think you just kind of incorporate it into your life. Like for me, it was like I wake up, this is real shit, take my kids to school, go to the gym, from the gym, go to the set, work on the set. After that, go to happy hour. Happy hour, go to the office. Office to the club, network, sleep, back to taking the kids to school in the morning.
Wow.
And when you get into that type of routine, you know, and it was consistent. You'd be surprised how much you will accomplish.
Don't you also feel? I always think too, for people in this industry, I think the ones that have longevity, that they have good personalities or they're good people on the most part, because to be able to do this and keep getting gigs and just be around, you got to make friends. You got to be a good person.
You have to be a good person to succeed. Yeah. They say that average, for females at least, the average longevity of an adult career is between 4 and 6 months from when a girl starts and when she's done. Mr. Marcus has decades. I mean, this is, you are fucking killing the game.
Now, obviously, you're more behind the camera now, obviously,
but
right?
just in general, it's ridiculous. I want to know how you went from being just an average person to in the movies. Like, did someone ask you randomly? Was there an ad in the paper you saw?
It was so weird. Everything kind of happened at the same time.
Cool.
It just, Heather Lee, you know, me and Heather Lee, if you look her up, she met me and we started like hanging out, having sex, and she said, you should do movies. And I was like, good. So I want to do movies.
Yeah.
So she basically was saying you're good enough to be a porn star from a porn star.
That's the ultimate compliment.
When a porn star says you should get in the movies, that's good.
That's there's no better compliment than that.
Yeah. That was nice. I didn't even know what the hell it was. All I knew was I wanted to do more of what we were already doing. And then now look at this shit. This is like,
it's crazy.
I love it. Yeah. I come every year. Every year is like bananas. It's awesome.
So what year were you inducted into the Hall of Fame? And for what? Like, what was the title with it?
It's just for your career, your overall.
I don't know.
Just as an honor?
You know what? I was kind of surprised because I went in before a lot of other veterans, a lot of legends I look up to in the business, and you know, and that kind of threw me because I didn't expect the fame and the shit.
Yeah.
To me, it's shit. There's shit. They're like, it's just sex, just porn. I deal with the people online with the racism. I deal with the, our health testing. We had to evolve there.
Yep.
We've had. I remember John Ashcroft came in and they didn't want interracial sex on the box covers and didn't want two guys holding. You see all these things and then you meet, you know these people. You know what I mean? And it's a family. It's a group of people. I don't know what the hell I'm doing right now. I'm being sentiment. I love this industry. And the things that I've seen in it makes me want to keep being a part of it. Yeah. The things I want to see grow.
Yeah, I found that too.
I think it's beautiful.
I've been coming out here for 18 years, since 2000 when I started my website, and I've always felt that the people in this industry are good people.
100%.
Great people. They're horny.
Very misunderstood, though.
Right.
I don't mind that, but it's like they're good people, and especially in the first 10 years, like the technology, like the intelligence from the developer and technology side of things was off the hook. That's where you made all your money back. If you were good in tech, you were in the porn industry in the early days. Now there's obviously a lot more opportunities, but my big takeaway was how nice the people are and friendly in this industry. It's like a family, and you get to know people from hanging out all the time.
Yeah. I spent 22 years. It's like I grew up in there. I was 23 when I got into it. So I was kind of like groomed by Nina Hartley,
Wow.
Educated by, Jim South and Bill Margol and
legends. Yeah.
Shawn Michaels, Julian St. Jacques. We were just a bunch of people showing up on set and became more like a family. Like we do some parties, man, at Shawn Michaels. We'd wake up in the morning and there'd be girls stretched out all over the place. Like that shit really happened.
I believe it.
The good old days.
Right. Yeah. And then Vegas has been one of those places. It's a perfect home for AV. It's a perfect home for the adult industry. I believe. California, obviously the climate and the atmosphere has always been supportive of what we do, but I think Vegas is the arms are bigger.
Yeah.
There's more opportunity. It opens up doors.
Yeah, there's just a different sense of tolerance, openness, understanding.
Right.
Not a feeling where you don't need to explain yourself. You're just doing what you're doing and no one asks questions.
Well, just look how women are walking around dressed around here.
And they should. If that's how women want to be walking around, that's how they should be walking around.
And nobody bats an eye. It's just it is.
No. I encourage tits to pop out.
Yes.
A little bit of ass slapping. Love the booty shot. A little twerk from here to there doesn't hurt nobody.
Oh, we agree with you wholeheartedly on that.
Preaching to the choir,
sir. Do you currently have a favorite adult starlet, like a female star that you have your eye on just because you think she's really talented?
Man, I just saw this girl earlier today. She had a picture of her fucking pussy just wide open.
Oh, awesome. Just splayed out.
I was just kind of like, you know what? I like you.
You're dope. Yeah.
I'm easy, right?
So you're saying she had a beautiful smile.
Sideways smile.
She had a vertical smile. Yeah.
Right. And it's like it's an 8x10, so it's not like it's on a TV, like on your phone screen, and you got to zoom in on it, and that's my mentor over there.
I know. He's a legend in the wings.
So I came up with all the old school cats.
Yeah.
I'm a new school, old school type of dude.
Yeah, you look young, but you've been around.
I've been around. I've seen the things.
Change and evolve and go up and down and hills and valleys and all the issues you talked about. You've seen them all kind of happen in real time, and then the solution present itself as well. It's pretty badass. You have a very unique experience because I think of your age and the time you started and the people that you've worked with and been involved with. I think it's absolutely beautiful.
We have a special guest.
Who got you into this business? Who was the first person that saw you naked in front of a camera? That is correct.
Yes.
Out of 13 guys, he was the only one that could perform.
13 guys?
Yeah.
Which scenario are we talking about? Was this his first time ever? Was this a certain...
This was his first time ever. It's what is euphemistically called a JO, where guys just have to walk in, drop their clothes, and pleasure themselves. Or I guess for Mr. Skin, I can say masturbate. And I'm not on CBS right now.
You can say whatever you want.
And we were toward the end of the day, and it had been a pretty dismal day. And he came in, and I looked up, and Marcy Hirsch looked up, and we said, "Oh, please, God, let him be good." And he was brilliant.
So how did that go down? What, were you super nervous? Did you just go in there like, I'm just going to jerk it? Like, what was going on in your mind?
I was happy. I was happy to see that she was behind the camera.
And by the way, let me interject here.
Yes, please introduce.
Her is Kelly Holland, the CEO of Penthouse, who I've been dying to meet.
And owner.
Right. Owner and CEO of Penthouse.
Get it right.
Boss.
She's the boss.
So at this point in your career, you were like a neophyte. You'd not done anything? Like you were just new and...
I had a few scenes that kind of got me going, but by the time it was video team. Yeah.
No, it was Vivid.
Oh, it was Vivid.
It was Vivid.
Oh, Marcy, that's right. Because video team came after that. Vivid embraced me, man. Vivid showed me so much love. We did Smartest Neighborhood. They wanted me to shoot all black girls that did anal, which at the time was like nobody.
We're talking 15 years ago.
Right.
It was probably my third or fourth month in the industry, and I was a drafted-in director who had come from doing war zone documentaries in Central America and just fell into this world because it was a chance to go down a weird rabbit hole, which I did, and went, wow, I love this place. And so I was fairly new to it. Marcus was definitely new that day.
So you discovered him, and then the rest just happened. What was your first movie or your first scene? Do you remember? Or was it a photo shoot? What was your first work?
Well, that jack-off video was like, that's a lot of fans asked for that.
Yeah.
I can't find it.
Because it's so early in your career, or there was something?
Probably.
Yeah.
And that was only did.
And I think that there were a lot of guys in the business that were uncomfortable. I mean, look, think about it from an actor's perspective. If you're a guy, so we know men have to bring it, right?
Right.
Which is why I always say many are called and few are chosen. It's one thing for a woman to come in the business because she can essentially look like she's involved in the scene, where actually what she's thinking about is the next pair of shoes she's going to buy, right? But a guy actually has to bring it, and that is a very special man that can do that. And it's easier when you're walking in and you're with a girl because you can focus on the woman that you're with. You don't have to pay attention to the lighting and the sound and the awkward situation you're in. But when you come in and do a solo, it's just you and the camera and the people that are there. And it's incredibly difficult.
You didn't mind if I used you as a...
What?
Oh, wait, what are you saying here?
Are you joking?
You inspired me.
Oh my God, I don't know if I should be offended or flattered now, but I think I'm flattered.
I would be definitely flattered by that. You guys seem to really love each other and care about each other. It's really beautiful, and it really attests to what Mr. Skin says about the unity in this industry and people like you that have great career longevity. There really is a great sense of family and bond and unity, and it's really, really beautiful.
There's a reason for that. If you look at the way people in this industry talk, they always refer to these guys out here at this show as civilians. Think about who else refers to the world as civilians.
Yeah.
The military does, police do, paramedics do.
Special bond.
And that's because you can never explain to people what it's like being in this business. It's absolutely impossible. So there's us and there's civilians. And also, unlike the military or police or paramedics, this is a business that is socially and culturally ostracized. So I think that, when you're embattled, right, and we're still embattled, and we're about to move into a time where we're more embattled thanks to the orange clown that's going to enter the White House tomorrow, that draws people together. Yeah, it's tomorrow. I'm trying not to think about it. By the way, I am getting on a plane tomorrow night to go to Washington to march in the middle.
Oh, are you marching?
With Jessica Drake and some girls from the Free Speech Coalition.
Congratulations.
But I think that, when you're embattled, you draw closer together. And although there's lots of sibling squabbling that goes on inside inside the business, I think at the heart of it, particularly when we're under the gun, as we were with Proposition 60, for example, you see people come together, and in the case of Proposition 60, outspent 10-to-1, out-advertised, and also a difficult message, right? Because the message on the other side was, we're going to make it safer for porn stars. Well, who's going to vote against that? But this business came together in such an amazing, astonishing, and miraculous way and defeated a proposition that no one thought we could defeat in a time when culture and the popular sentiment was not going in our direction, right? But now that was a battle. Now the war is coming, or as they say in Game of Thrones, winter is coming.
Yeah, talk to us in a year or two.
You guys are ready. You've been prepped your whole lives for this, it seems.
Well, you know what? They showed up. They went up and down the coast. They went to the seminar, when they sat down.
Like press conferences and
they spoke out. You know what I mean? And Julianne did an amazing job.
An amazing job.
Yeah, she made it she personalized it.
Yeah.
It affected each one of us.
All right, Andrea, let's talk about our sponsor for today. There are some pretty incredible cam girls on their site, aren't there?
Yes, absolutely. So Streamate is a little different than most other campsites. The site is totally free, which means you can talk with all the beautiful models live with high quality video without paying a dime. There are thousands of models broadcasting at any point in time, including porn stars like Diamond Jackson, Gina Lynn, Amy Fisher, Ashton Blake, and amateur hotties like Emma Lovett, Cassidy Nicole, and so many more. Streamate partners with some of the biggest adult sites out there. So if you have a favorite performer, chances are you may be able to find her for a personal session. We know you guys want to check out some of the best shows in camming. So head over to Streamate.com right now.
Yeah, and Andrew, by the way, the Mount Rushmore of cams, Streamate is right up there. It's camming, as we've talked about before, it's huge. It's where the traffic's going, business is going. It's a win-win in the industry for both the models and the businesses. But Streamate is one of the biggest and best. And again, always cool to get sponsors like someone the size of Streamate taking interest in the Mr. Skin podcast. So definitely go check it out. I'm a big fan. They've been around and they are players, no question about it.
All right, back to the interview. I think we're in a time where there's a lot of, there's going to be some paradigm shifts and it's going to be harder before it gets better. But if everyone's just in this unity consciousness and keeps going forward, it's going to change and we will prevail. And I'm just so happy for you guys. And I'm so happy for this bond. You're a legend. You're a legend. What's next for you?
Well, I acquired Penthouse 11 months ago, so it's a lot of build. And I have this wonderful luxury of owning a magazine, so I won't get into the weeds of all the stuff that we've done that's political, but there were a lot of reasons why I bought the company. I had worked for it for 8 years. I love the brand. It's an iconic brand. It was incredibly underdeveloped, underexploited, and it had a lot of opportunities every turn. But I will tell you, I'm having the most fun with the magazine. I have great writers. I've brought Alan Dershowitz, who's a really famous writer that worked for Guccione. I've got writers from Vanity Fair, Huffington Post, and of course we're doing politics. And what's great is I feel like to some extent I've come full circle. I came from an extremely political background. I was a war zone journalist and I had very distinct thoughts and feelings about it. I was a progressive and a leftist. And I got in this business, a business that on the surface, I was a feminist, and on the surface, my feminist friends were horrified. You're doing what? And I got into the business believing all of the cliches about the women in this industry. But when I got in as a documentary filmmaker and I got to know the people in this business and I got to understand the politics, and believe me, porn is highly political. It's one of the most political statements you can make, right? That's going to be a bit of our mantra at Penthouse, which is porn is politics. And when I got into this, I realized very quickly that feminism is not a contradiction in this business. Actually, the women in this business are the vanguard of the feminist movement because they say we are not ashamed of our bodies. We are not going to apologize for sex. We embrace our sexuality. And that's really the forefront of the feminist movement. So now I have a magazine and I get to be as insanely political as I want to be. I'll tell you, in the first month after the acquisition, there was a lot going on, but I think it was one night I was in my office and it was about 9 o'clock at night and I was 30 days in. I think I intellectually realized something, but I didn't organically realize it. And I was sitting at my desk and all of a sudden it hit me like a flash and I went, oh my God, I have a magazine and there's nobody that can tell me what to do. I can do anything.
Yeah, you own it.
And I'd worked there for 8 or 9 years and I had been subject to CEOs and owners who had taken politics out of the magazine, who never did anything controversial, who never stepped out because they didn't want to offend anybody. Well, when you don't want to offend anybody, you really don't serve anyone either. And it just occurred to me, it was like the chains kind of dropped off of me, but I was 30 days in before I realized it. I've been having such a good time since. It's like every day is great. So.
Kelly,
I'm excited to read this.
Yeah, it's good. Kelly, I have a question for you. I'm sure you've dealt with this, but the question I have is, okay, you say you're a feminist, but then you own Penthouse. Now, I get it, but how do you handle your critics? What do you say to your critics? Say, isn't that a bit of a contradiction? You're a feminist, yet you're in the adult industry.
Sure. I mean, here, I'll take that. On the surface, it seems that, first of all, Penthouse is a men's brand, and I fully embrace that. And it targets men and the women they love. And I don't see, there's no contradiction there. We don't do anything that's misogynistic. But when you talk about feminism as being really core to the message inside the adult industry, you have to get specific. So I'm not going to tell you in the adult industry that there is no misogynistic content. There's a lot of it, right?
But you've changed and the things I used to see in Penthouse and what I see now, it's not. It's probably
different.
Yeah, it's you're doing. There's things you don't see in Penthouse that you used to see that might be considered.
I'll tell you one interesting thing I talked about the other day. So some statistics just came out of Hollywood. In 1989, 9% of all Hollywood movies were directed by women. This year, would you like to guess what percentage are directed by women? 7%. It's gone down in mainstream Hollywood. Would you like to know, of the movies nominated at AVN, would you like to know how many were directed by women? 40%. Why, you say? Why in a business that seems to be male-dominated and would, on its surface, appear to be a very misogynistic environment, do you have so many women directing?
Well, I would even say we're the black men. We're the black women.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Even more so.
Exactly.
No, you're right.
Exactly. And why? Because our rule in the adult industry is that there are no rules. We create our own rules here. So women that want to rise, either actresses that want to become directors, people that want to come in and direct because they have a vision, women that want to rise as executives through the business. If we don't have any kind of discrimination against you for taking your clothes off and having whatever kind of sex is comfortable for you and you want to have, we're certainly not going to have a discrimination against you over your gender, right? And this also happens to be a business where women make more money than men. That's just the fact of the matter.
That's a good point.
Now, let's talk about content. There's really misogynistic content in the industry and, out in the hinterlands. But I don't ask Martin Scorsese to legitimize Jackass the movie, right? That's not his job. So I can't speak to the misogynistic content that's out there. I can only speak to what I do. And I will tell you what I do is very similar to what my peers, who are my peers, Wicked, Vivid, Adam and Eve, all of the mainstream companies do content that I think presents equally a woman's perspective, what turns a woman on, how women like to have sex. They're not the victims. They're not, held down, throttled, choked in mainstream content. And when you look at the misogynistic content, you have to ask yourself, where is that coming from? I would suggest, and I don't know this is purely anecdotal on my part, but I would suggest that there is and I would tell you that our Times would suggest it, and the orange clown in the White House would suggest it, that we are living in a pretty misogynistic time because we are at the tail end of modern medievalism. This is the last fucking gasp of this kind of angry, failed, frustrated white guys, right? Because they're the only group that's lost power over the last 100 years. And I don't want to say...
And their numbers are declining. And let me tell you, I sound angry about that, but I will tell you, I actually have a lot of sympathy for them, because think about this. For 160,000 years, since we dropped out of the trees on the Serengeti and started standing up on our hind legs, there's been a very simple sort of equation that happened between men and women. Guy goes out and kills the bison on the plain, drags it back to the cave. Woman cooks it, fucks him, has children, step and repeat. Easy. You do the dangerous work, I fuck you and have babies. Very simple. Until probably around World War II, when women had to move into the workplace. Yes.
Women started making money. Now they make a lot of money. Now there's many women who may make more money than the man they live with.
Thank God.
And what does that man have to do now? That man has to wash dishes, take out trash, raise children. My God, that guy's got to do one more thing that's really, really scary. That guy has to give you an orgasm. And if he doesn't, you can go to the guy next door who might be younger and cuter, or you can go to the woman next door who might be younger and cuter. You don't need to stay in a relationship you don't want to be in because he's killing the bison. Because you can go to Whole Foods and buy bison behind the counter, right?
That's great.
So in 160,000 years, life carried on. That's about the time we dropped out of the trees. Life carried on the same. And now in about 40 or 50 years, everything changed. But guess what? This reptile brain, this big meatloaf at the back of our head hasn't caught up to that.
Yeah.
It hasn't evolved to that point. So men are left in this very difficult situation of trying to adapt and change their reason for being. And that is very frightening, particularly to men as they move into that kind of 40 and 50-year-old zone. That's late. I mean, it's like, now you want to change? Not you guys.
Not us.
So I have a lot of sympathy, but I also think that's where a lot of the fear and anger come from.
No, I think you're right on.
The orange face guy, right?
I'm talking about the orange clown, but I'm also talking about just that misogynistic kind of porn where women get slapped and spit on and throttled because you can't do that as easily with women anymore. It's the last gasp of trying to control them, right?
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I'm 99% sure I know the answer, but for all our 10 million visitors a month that come to MrSkin.com, this is a very important question. You have no plans to go the Playboy route with Penthouse. Please say you don't.
No. As a matter of fact, we've had such a good time with the bunny. We just did a trade show in Europe, and we had a T-shirt we were passing out to all of our licensees, and it had a rabbit with a target on it, and it said, "We're going rabbit hunting."
Good.
Because that's a famous old Bob Guccione ad.
Yeah.
And we also did a great thing in the magazine called The Fabric Wars, where we had an us and them. So we had the same model. In one picture, it was a model totally in a nun's outfit. And then in the next one, it was just the veil, but she was nude. We had another one. It was they're the nun, we're the nude nun. We had a whole burqa number. Why is religion? Religion is
everything.
Is everything. It's everything. It's an expression of, and I don't want to get too political on this, but religion, all religions, are an expression of a patriarchal fantasy. Because if you look at it, all religions insist that a woman's value is her virginity. And if she loses her virginity, particularly out of wedlock, she's a whore. That's the choice. You're a virgin or you're a whore. And that's why I love women in this business, because they say, when someone says to you, oh, you take your clothes off and you fuck for a living, you're a whore, you say, fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Now go pay to watch me. There is nothing more radically political than that. So no. Do we apologize for nudity? No. Is that horse way outside that gate? Yeah. Did Leonardo da Vinci, oh my God, nudity, let's put their clothes back on. Oh, well, the Greeks did it, 1,000 years ago, so it's old. That was Playboy's line is, well, there's free porn on the internet, so nudity doesn't have the same meaning it used to have. Well, first of all, Playboy, you are now comparing yourself to porn on the internet. I would hope you would think a little bit better of yourselves, number one. And number two, when was nudity ever rendered obsolete? Because that's actually what Scott Flanders said. Is nudity... No, I'm sorry, he didn't say obsolete. He said passé, accent on the E. Nudity has been rendered passé. When was it passé? Like I said, did Da Vinci decide that nudity was passé because the Greeks did it? No, that's ridiculous. It's all about how you do it. And I think we're a little bit past apologizing.
Right.
So you can get advertisers.
Well, Kelly, one question I do have is, as a kid who grew up, and Penthouse Forum, it's all I read in high school.
Dear Penthouse letters.
Oh my God, Penthouse Forum. Playboy, I was a big magazine fan, Celebrity Sleuth, Celebrity Skin. I love magazines. But as we know, with the internet, with MrSkin.com, how things are, obviously magazines, especially in the adult world, are not the same. Why are you bullish about Penthouse in the future? I want this to succeed, but why do you think it will?
It will, and here's why. Here's what we found in a very few 9 months. Do you know who Huff is? If I say a streetwear brand called Huff, skateboarding streetwear brand.
I was going to say the skateboarding thing. Yeah, I know.
So Huff is one of the oldest, most established, well-respected, if you can say old in the streetwear world, but a really well-established streetwear brand. We just dropped a big collection with Huff, sneaks and hoodies and caps, and I'll show it to you. It's a great collection. Why would a streetwear brand work with us, a 50-year-old brand? I'll tell you. We went to Keith Huffnagel because we have a strategy on how to move our brand to a younger demographic, a demographic where you've got 20-year-olds that have never bought a magazine. So how are we relevant? I had a theory that if you want to go to the hottest party in Hollywood and you don't have an invitation, you figure out who does and you go with them. You cannot market directly to millennials. They are way too sophisticated for that. They were born with a cell phone in their hand. When they came out of the birth canal, they were texting. So you can't market to them. They're way too sophisticated. You have to align yourself with brands and people that they feel are, I hate this word, authentic. So we went to Huff, we went to Antisocial Social Club, we went to a bunch of clear weather sneaks, a bunch of streetwear brands, and we said, look, we're going to give you some free advertising in this thing called a magazine. Do you know what that is? And they went, we think we've heard of it.
That's funny.
We put ads in the magazines for all of these streetwear brands, and, they'd be walking through the airport and they'd look up and go, oh my God, it's my ad, and it's sitting there on, what is that? It's a magazine. I'm being facetious, but here's the deal. I'm going to digress with one example. I was having a big party at Christmas. I have a big party every Christmas. And I decided this Christmas, I saw something, and I thought this would be kind of a cool idea. Remember Polaroid cameras?
Of course.
Remember, shake it like a Polaroid camera?
Shake it, baby.
Best Buy was selling these little Polaroid cameras that shot Polaroids that were the size of a business card. So I bought 3 of them. I bought a ton of Polaroid film, and I handed them out at the party. Oh my God, people were blown away. Everybody's shooting pictures. We hung them on the Christmas tree. It was cool. Now I think, well, what a great idea. I'm going to buy my 7-year-old nephew a Polaroid camera. And I went back to Best Buy a week later, and they were sold out. And I said, can you call some other Best Buys? And the guy said, forget it. They're sold out everywhere. Why? I have a theory. Could be right, could be wrong. That you have 2 generations, maybe, certainly millennials, that grew up in a world where everything was ephemeral. One day you're at the top of a Google search, and the next day you're 8 pages in. You have Snapchat, where something happens and then it evaporates. And that this is a generation that was raised on that, and now the idea of substance, something you can touch, is actually important, because I will tell you there were a lot of millennials at that party, and they walked around like they had a gold cube. You know, it was like, oh my God, it's a Polaroid. I'm going to take it home and I'm going to put it up, because it wasn't on their iPhone. They probably had 1,000 interesting images on their iPhone, but this was something in their hand, and they'd never had anything in their hand. So I will tell you, a couple things have happened. First of all, and look, it's slow. It's, you know, I won't tell you the circulation, but it's not what it used to be. It used to be 1 million. It's not that. It's not anywhere close. But we have a growing group of 40 and over that have come back to us and say, wow, what's happening at Penthouse? We have a whole political demographic that's coming along. We now shoot a lot of girls that are more, I would say, kind of the Instagram girls. So they're not those classic kind of massively tatted, big fake boob, hair extension girls. So that's a demographic that's opening up. And then we have the millennials that have started to kind of come home to us or discover us. The ones who vaguely remember that their father talked about finding it in his father's sock drawer. Those guys are coming back to us. So when I bought the company, the publishing division was losing a lot of money. We did a couple of big things. We closed our publishing office in New York.
Yeah, you outsourced a lot of stuff too, right?
Outsourced. We have an amazing publisher in Australia. We outsourced to that publisher to do all of the layout, the design. We content share with him. We just brought publishing into the new century. We did a lot of what the newspapers now have to do. We just got smart about how we ran the magazine. And that has brought the magazine profitable. And I can guarantee you, as long as it's not losing money, even if it were break even, and it's doing much better than break even. But even if it were doing break even, I would keep it publishing, because it's the flagship of the brand. It's iconic. And I'm having such a great time with it.
No, my God.
Can I tell you about the cartoon that we're doing?
Yeah, go ahead.
We do a cartoon every month. Actually, we do 2 or 3. So at Christmas, I'm sorry, I hate to be so boringly political all the time. No, but I'm just loving this, right? So at Christmas, I don't know if you remember that we, in retaliation for the Democratic hack, we expelled all of the Russian diplomats. And so the Russian foreign minister said, oh, I'm going to expel all of the U.S. diplomats from Moscow. And then Putin, like Jesus Christ, stepped up and said, oh, wait, we're not going to do that. As a matter of fact, I invite the American diplomats to send their children to the Kremlin to see the Christmas tree, because we love the Americans. And you've been so humiliated for the last 8 years, but now everything's going to be great with your new president, Donald Trump. Well, I heard this, and I just thought, really? So we're doing a great cartoon. It's not just great because I thought about it one morning when I was taking a shower. It's great. So it's Putin standing like Christ with like rays coming out of his palms. He's got a little halo around him. He's got his tight muscle shirt on because he loves to show off his muscles. And it says, come to Vladdy. And then his pants are down around his ankles, and Trump's giving him a blowjob with his fat, white, flabby ass hanging out. And on his ass it says, property of Russia. And then the caption says, the caption says, I love the Americans. You've been so humiliated in the last few years, but now, ... you're my bitch. And then in the background, there's going to be a pyramid of skulls that say things like Pussy Riot, Crimea, Dissent, Free Speech, whatever, you know. So I can't wait for that. The cartoonist is working on it right now.
I think this will be in the news, no question about it. Well, let me say, Kelly Holland, owner and CEO of Penthouse, I couldn't be pulling for you more. I'm so excited. Cool. This is, to me, as a fan of the magazine and just the adult industry in general, I'm really, truly pulling for you. Poor Mr. Marcus sat down for a 5-minute interview. He's been here 45 minutes. Thank you.
I'm a student. I'm a student.
Oh, no. You were such a trooper. I was thinking to myself, oh, my God, I hope he's not feeling like
No,
I gotta
love
leave.
it. I love it. I love Penthouse. They're way ahead of the curve.
They are.
They're shooting 3D and virtual, and they take the. She's a cinematographer. You know what I mean? She's great with the camera. She knows what she wants to see, and she encourages that.
She's a visionary.
She's a visionary. Obviously. And then that's, and I want to see what she sees.
Well, like I said, we both thank both of you guys for stopping by, and
I support.
We're big fans. We're big fans. So
Give me your address. Not on the air, of course.
Give it to her.
my home address?
No. Give me your address and I'll send you a subscription.
Oh my God, I would be honored.
I think Kelly Holland for president.
I see it.
Yeah.
All right, thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys.
This concludes another skin-titillating episode of the Mr. Skin Podcast. Subscribe to the Mr. Skin Podcast in iTunes and never miss a show. Thanks for listening.